Welcome back, Patriots, for another episode of the Ball Brad Show. Heck, it is already Thursday, August 15th. We are just one day closer, not only to the election, which I believe is November 5th, but also one day closer to the DNC, where Kamala Harris, without ever getting a single vote, will somehow officially accept the nominee to be the next Democratic representative to be running for president of the United States. So, wild stuff. Everything's on fire around us. And we really got to ask ourselves this question. Why hasn't Kamala Harris done an interview in 24, 25 days now? I think there's a bigger picture to all of this. And I think not only does it obviously help her campaign, but I think there's a connection strategically that is in her benefit big time as to why she probably won't be doing an interview for another week or two. And we're going to dive deep into that because I think it's actually a smart move by her with all these reeds in the wind, meaning her changing her position from 5 years ago till now. And it's only going to confuse Trump and his campaign, folks. So we're going to break it down for you. But I see all of you in the live chat. We got Robert here, the architect, Neil, Troy, Robert, Ferjant, good to see you. We got a lot of people over at Rumble as well. We got Patrick, PT302, the Navy vet, love him. Miriam, Jennifer, we got all of you here. Gavin, hopefully I didn't mix anybody. Jason's here. Karen, Cat Mom, we got everybody here. We got the gang and everybody's still rolling in. It is morning, folks. If you haven't already, make sure you get your cup of coffee and enjoy one with me. Wet the whistle a little bit. Now, let me tell you, we had a freaking jam-packed show. There's so much news. It's kind of like, what do we cover here? Well, I want to make sure that I get you all in on this breaking news as of 12 hours ago. There was a massive hack on U.S. public data, if you guys weren't aware. I feel like it's not being exposed out there. What's going on, Jerry? As much as it should be. Yeah, so hackers have reportedly stolen the social security numbers of every American from the national public data, affecting nearly 2.9 billion records. Now, I was reading up on this more this morning and trying to figure out, is it 2.9 billion pieces of information or is it 2.9 billion individuals, which doesn't make sense because we don't have that many Americans here. The breach includes personal information such as social security numbers and physical addresses. The incident has raised concerns about the security of personal data and the need for individuals to take protective measures. I just want to make sure you're all aware of that because like Pat said, yeah, this is crazy. It's wild. And as you can imagine, there's already lawsuits being filed right now. One of the articles I did read from Fox was that the data has already been revealed to, I believe, a law firm that filed the suit. And it's been confirmed. So it's about 277 gigabytes or something, or gigs, or some huge file, but I guess they did confirm it. It looks legit. So want to make sure you were aware of all that. Something we always like to do here, right, Patriots? Just start off with kind of a video this morning or every morning. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But this one, well, I think it kind of speaks for itself here. Get ready.
Who are you going to vote for?
Trump.
Do you have a preferred candidate?
I'm a strong Republican.
It's not Kamala.
Why isn't it Kamala?
Just look at her policies.
What policies?
Exactly.
You're not for Trump, are you?
I almost just spit out my coffee. Hold on a second.
Just look at her policies.
What policies?
Exactly.
You're not for Trump, are you for Kamala?
Well, yeah.
What do you like about Kamala's policies?
I haven't heard them really yet much, so I might change my mind.
What issues are important to you as we head into November?
You know, it's the same we see every day. The economy, the border.
Inflation's up, taxes are up. Things were great when Trump was in office, and look what's happened. And now we have a vice president that's running for president, and we have no clear agenda of any of her policies.
Who are you going to vote for?
Exactly. Nobody knows her policies. That's a problem. It's a big problem. because the media is allowing this to happen where they're not running her old policies all over the place. And how could you? Because in her teleprompter during her rallies, she's only talking about the policies in which she's flipped on. I'm all of a sudden going to be strong on the border. I'm all of a sudden going to fix the economy. I'm all of a sudden going to do this or that. I'm not for banning fracking anymore. I'm for fossil fuel all of a sudden after spending 5 years talking about the Green New Deal and destroying our economy and all these other things. I want to help the middle class, but I'm still going to raise taxes. Like all these things, she's flip-flopped. It's actually a great strategy. I've been meditating on this for a couple days. What is the end game here? And we are always 2 to 3 weeks ahead of the news cycle on this when we call this out. Folks, here's the strategy, and we're going to just do it early in the show. The strategy is this. She's a reed in the wind. She's going back and forth on these positions. She's not taking in any interviews. I think this is the playbook here. Obviously, I could be wrong. We're going to go up to the DNC. She's going to sit there and accept the nomination. Tim Walz is going to accept the nomination of the vice president at the DNC. The normal spiel. After that, then we're going to start seeing some sit-down interviews with her. But the sit-down interviews, she's trying to keep the gap between those sit-down interviews and the debate within a margin. Why is that? Because when she starts coming out and revealing all her policies, the Trump campaign and Trump himself are going to have to scramble to try to get some sort of answers prepared to combat those policies. You know how it's going to play out on the debate stage on September 4th or 10th, whenever it is? Well, Trump's going to go, well, she's not for fracking. She's going to destroy our country. Excuse me, Donald. No, actually, I am for fracking. Are you okay? No, I've come out and said I am actually for fracking. I want to do the economy. She wants to sit there and allow tons of illegal aliens from the prisons and the gangs to come in here violently. They're going to ruin our country. Donald, really, are you okay? Because I've come out and said that I want to secure the border. I want more border security. Donald, are you okay? She's going to sit there and destroy energy. She doesn't want to allow the pipelines to flourish. Drill, baby, drill. Donald, that's not my position at all. I'm really at a loss here as to what's going on because I've sat there and said that I am for drilling. I want to fix the economy. I want to bring down inflation. This is the issue that we're going to run into. She's going to make the guy look stupid because he hasn't been able to prepare because she hasn't come out with her policies yet. So it's a remarkable strategy. It really is. It's going to pay dividends. I'm telling you guys, if you think Donald's going to go in there, Mr. Trump, who I'm a fan of and I'm voting for him, if he's going to walk in there and kick her ass, I don't think that's going to happen. I know they don't want to hear it. Or at least that's my take, right? You don't have to agree with me. I don't think he's going to kick her ass. I think we got a massive problem on our hands and the media is complicit in it. That's why the title is insane that the media is allowing this to happen, that they're not even running prior agendas so that she's forced to come out and sit there and answer to those prior agendas and actually be clear on what her damn policies are because nobody knows, which makes it even more of a remarkable thing that nobody knows because how the hell are you having her as a nomination when you don't even know her policies? She could sit there and be like, I'm for full fucking communism. Well, she's already your nominee now. You're kind of screwed, aren't you? Isn't that wild? She could accept the nomination and just, it's not going to happen. I mean, she is a Marxist. She says some crazy ass things. But what I'm saying is she could quite literally, it is possible, accept the nomination. Nobody knows her platform. And she comes out going, I'm going full freaking Marxist, suckers. It's possible. And that's the dangerous thing about not knowing somebody's agenda before they're nominated into whichever party. It's dangerous. It's extremely dangerous. And that's why we have a democracy here. I understand the country's a republic, but that's why we do the form of a procedure of a democracy to basically kind of weed that stuff out. Now, check this out, you guys. This one, PT 302, Navy vet. We got Neil in the chat as well. Neil's a veteran too. We got a few other vets in here as well. I'm just preempting. This is going to piss you off, okay? This is a slap in America's face. It's a slap to our military. And boy, oh boy, is the Taliban flexing their muscle here, folks. Get ready for this. The Taliban, who we spent decades fighting, that killed Americans, that savagely killed Afghanistan people as well, reminds the world of Biden-Harris's humiliating withdrawal from Afghanistan with a military parade. where did they get all this equipment? Damn, that really looks like a military-grade equipment from the United States military. Oh, that's because it is. That's because it is. The Taliban paraded billions of dollars worth of military equipment, hardware around the streets of Afghanistan on Wednesday near the U.S.'s former air base inside the country. Yeah, the Democrats left that. It wasn't the Republicans. The Democrats left them billions of dollars of equipment. Oh, it doesn't work is what we were told. Oh, we made it inoperable. Go back to my old shows, and we actually showed video of them flying the Blackhawks around like the first week and trying to utilize our exercise equipment because they've never seen it before. And I said, they're going to get these operational. Don't give me this bullshit that they didn't sit there and actually make each and every one of these inoperable to these people. They'll figure it out. They're not super idiots, right? The Department of Defense Inspector General, the IG, said that in a report a year after Afghanistan's fall. Oh my God, I can't believe it fell in 2 weeks. Everybody knew it'd fall quickly. Yeah, we thought it would just take a couple years. Freaking idiots. U.S. funded equipment valued at $7.12 billion. Yeah, we all paid for that, by the way. And now we just pawned it off to other people. We got video of this, you guys. Oh, yeah. Oh, you bet your ass we got video. Like, what, Brad? We have boots in the ground. We got video of it. Oh, absolutely. What a slap in the damn face. What a slap in our face. I'm just going to, I don't even want to hear it. I don't want to hear the music. It's only going to make it worse for me. Look at this. Just take a peek on the left hand. Oh, there it is. That's what I wanted you to see. Oh, goody. Goody. That looks more Russian, though. That actually doesn't look American. Who knows? I'm a military supporter, but I'm not a military guy. I never served. Oh, goody. Oh, I mean, that's definitely American right there. I don't know about that one. That looks more like Russian to me. Just glad, though, you guys. I mean, it could be repainted, right? I don't know. It's definitely those helicopters give me Russian vibes. Yeah. So there we go. Oh, that's military. Oh, hey, we've seen one of those before. There you go. Thanks, Joe. Why are they not flying the Thanks, Joe flag? Just perfect. No, that's great. That's great. Perfect. Well, thought I'd throw those two bits of news at you. Now let's get into the real nitty gritty here. We got Tim Walz. Says he'll be at VP debate. JD Vance wants to check for garage rules. And I don't blame him. So there's a few debates possibly taking place here. And I kind of like this because I think we'll see a better debate between JD Vance and Tim Walz than we will be able to see from Trump and Harris. So CBS News invited both vice president candidates to participate in debate in New York City. They gave them some possible dates of September 17th, 24th, 4th, 1st, and 8th of October. So we'll see. I say take all four. And I think Trump can only capitalize on JD Vance there. And look, I'm a fan of JD Vance. I think he's a tamer version than Vivek Ramaswamy. And is anybody else knowing Vivek is just out there still doing podcasts, speaking on behalf of the Trump campaign? I mean, he has to be either Secretary of State or a press secretary or something in the cabinet because that guy is popping off going around and supporting Republicans. So we'll see what comes of it. But at least we're going to get some debates here between the vice presidents. And I don't think Tim Walz is going to do well whatsoever. I think JD Vance has that one in the bag. As far as, again, of Trump and Harris, I think Trump's going to have a tough time, and nothing against him. It's just the way that the Harris campaign is running things. They're not coming out and doing a press conference. When you have Jim Acosta coming out like this and saying, hey, would it kill you guys to have a press conference? Speaking of Michael Tyler, who's the communications director of the vice president, like, would it kill you guys to just come out and, I don't know, maybe sit there and talk to the media? Now, it's also the media's fault. Like I said, if you want to get her out there, just start running a lot of negative stuff about her. She'll come out of the woodwork sooner or later. But here we go.
Would it kill you guys to have a press conference? Why hasn't she had a press conference?
Listen, the vice president and Governor Walz have been busy crisscrossing this country since the launch of this campaign and adding Governor Walz to the ticket. You saw the ways in which they went across the battleground states last week, generating rallies of of thousands, 10,000 here, 15,000 there. But
Michael, you know, a campaign rally is not a press conference.
Do
you mind if I cut in? I mean, you know, a campaign rally is not a press conference.
It's funny how they're all so polite to Democrats. You notice that? Hey, Mike, do you mind if I cut in a little bit here? Look, buddy, hey, it's not, a rally's not a, you know, if it was anybody else, Republican said, no, sir, sorry. No, he hasn't done an interview. Where is he at? He hasn't done a rally in one day. Where is he at? Is he hiding? What's going on here? Like, the tone is all different, right? They treat him with the utmost respect. I tell you, these people eat the gunk between these people's toes, folks. The media love the Democrats. I know you know that, but hell.
Why hasn't she had a press conference? She's the vice president. She can handle the questions. Why not do it?
We absolutely are going to do it. You hear her take questions as she's out on the stump. And she said last week, we're going to be having a sit-down interview here before the end of the month. What she's going to be focused on and what this campaign is going to be focused on is communicating directly with the voters that are actually going to decide the pathway to 270 electoral votes. That's why she
Can you commit to a press conference this week?
This past week. That's why we're doing a bus tour in Pennsylvania as we head into Chicago. And it's why we'll sit down for an interview before the end of the month to make sure that we can have a deep dive conversation about the vision that Kamala Harris has for where she wants to take this country and the contrast that we're going to have with Donald Trump. We're going to have plenty of opportunities to do that throughout.
Wouldn't you want to do that before you're nominated as the party's nominee officially? Like, you're accepting it on behalf of everybody when the delegates get in there and vote and do all these things? I know they did a phone vote or whatever, some bullshit thing. I don't mean to cuss, but it is. Have we ever, I don't know. I mean, my history's lacking in this department. Have we ever seen this in American history? I mean, it has to be able to be counted on one hand. The fact that somebody's being puppeted out there, that nobody knows what her policies are, doesn't know anything about her. If she's flip-flopping, we quite literally don't know what she's for. And I'm being honest, I really don't. Is she for fracking? Is she not for fracking? Is she for inflation, non-inflation? Is she for destroying the country, not destroying the country? Let me know what your deal is. And it's funny because these Democrats are just showing up and they don't know. They tell you, oh, I voted for Kamala. She's done so many things. She's a black woman, the first black woman ever to be president. Like, that doesn't matter. I don't care what your skin color is. I don't even care if you're male or female. I care if your head's on straight and that your policies are good. That's going to uplift every American citizen, or at least give them the opportunity to do so. So what we're seeing right now is she wants to basically remove herself from Biden. And we got Eric Birch. Thank you so much, Birch. Are you with Birch Gold? Thank you so much, brother, for joining the Bald Brad Army. Love that badge next to your name, man. It looks freaking phenomenal. You're keeping the lights on here for us. Greatly appreciate it. If you guys didn't know, we do have a membership. It's 99 cents a month, and you get a cool badge, and your comments are highlighted for me, which is always greatly appreciative, and you help support the show. So Kamala here really wants to break up with Biden. Like, really, really bad. There's a reason why Biden hasn't really been on the campaign trail with her all that much. Not to mention he probably doesn't like her because she basically stabbed him in the back, right? Like Julius Caesar. But also the fact of she doesn't really want him around. So the media is ready to help her do it. Oh, 100%. And you're seeing that in real time. Look at Axios did heavy lifting for Harris on Wednesday, publishing a report outlining how she planned to break with Biden on several key issues. And what you'll see in a moment is we have Peter Doocy of Fox News asking Jean-Pierre about this whole thing, and Kareen's like playing it off like it ain't a thing. Like, oh, where are you getting that from? Are you just pulling that out of your, you know what? You'll see a little bit later. I promise. We got a lot of stuff on several key issues on which she either ostensibly agreed with Biden or could have pushed to advance as vice president and redefine herself as a presidential candidate. Quote, Harris won't say it this bluntly in public, but her advisors do so publicly. She wants to break from Biden on issues on which he's unpopular. But you were in all the meetings from what we heard. So if they're unpopular, that means you supported these very things. You were in all the meetings. You're calling the shots. We were told you're a team. We're told you guys are two peas in a pod. First up, rising prices. This is part of a highly choreographed effort to define herself, in some cases redefine herself, as a kind of Democrat. No, she ain't. I'll tell you what, no, she ain't. Yo, you're a progressive. You ain't even a Democrat. That's a slap to the face to Democrats right there. Jackie, thanks you. I didn't even know you could do 5 months. Thank you so much for 5 months being part of the Bald Brad Army. And look at that badge. She has the Don't Tread on Me badge right there. That one looks good. Thank you so much. You guys are killing today in the chat. Wow. Popping off. I don't know what's going on with Wednesdays and Thursdays, but we're doing well. Always love. I'm trying to look at the chat and do the show at the same time, but I'm reading it. I just want you guys to know I see both Rumble and YouTube at the same time. Like Gavin, he's Her psychotic smile kills me. It's not just her psychotic smile, my friend. It is also that psychotic freaking laugh. Just play that laugh just on audio. No video. She sounds like the Joker. Now, her campaign, here she is like a reed in the wind. Her campaign says she will not push Medicare for all, but she fully supported it 5 years ago. Guys, honestly, you gotta give credit where credit's due. I don't like Democrats. I like them as people, but I don't like their policies because it's destroying us. But I don't like this aspect of what they do because they're reeds in the wind. They go back and forth, but it's a phenomenal strategy. It really is, because you don't know. As somebody that's going up against them, I guess you could prepare for both, but you're just going to look stupid if you go, oh, well, she's for Medicare for all. She's like, no, I'm not. So she's just going to do that on every issue, and Trump's going to look really stupid. He's going to look blasphemy stupid. And you know what? I'd also like to point out, they brought up the 25th Amendment on Trump, that he was having cognitive issues when his hand was shaking with a drink, like 2016, 17. This is what they're going to do. They're going to possibly play into this whole age thing that, oh, he's too old. Look at, he can't even remember her policies. Oh, poor guy. Oh, he made an oopsie there. Oh, Donald, you don't remember what she said, huh? It's a great, dude, I'm telling you, it's a phenomenal strategy what they're doing here, keeping her in the basement like they did with Joe. Now, I agree, though, that Kamala must explain the economic suffering she's caused along with Joe Biden. But like the title of today's show, and saying the media is allowing this to happen. Why is the media just not running her policies from the past then? With the assumption that that's what she's going to be running on, because people don't change all that much right now. And if she doesn't like it, then have her come out and explain why she had that policy in the first place. And then what was it through society or through people around her that caused her to change her mind on, again, not wanting to drill, and now she wants to drill, to sitting there and wanting massive amount of invasion happening at the border, to no invasion happening at the border. Like, explain to me how you just flipped on the dime so quick here, and if that's really the truth and what you're running with. So Trump comes out and says that she needs to explain why all this suffering is taking place, and I think it's a great point. And I like that he's utilizing this word here, because that's what the Democrats do. Those are the types of words and languages, because they deal with feelings. They don't deal with logic and reason, where the Republicans and conservatives, which have hurt us politically in the past, deal with logic and reason, data, analyzing it, going through policy and actually, brainstorming it. But people are like, oh, she's just awesome. She's just great. Oh, I just love her. Yeah, but what are her policies? Oh, fuck her policies. Who cares? So here's Trump during his speech yesterday.
Kamala Harris and crooked Joe Biden, the American dream is dead. You don't hear about the American dream anymore. It's dead. Her radical liberal policies have caused horrific inflation, decimated the middle class, and gutted the finances of millions and millions of American families. Real incomes are down by over $2,000 a year per family. I mean, that's a lot of money.
I have the volume all the way up,
and it's actually much more if you figure it a certain way. If you add some other categories in, it's much more than that. But down by 2,000 since she took office, and it was just announced that real earnings were down once again at a record rate. The Harris price hikes have cost the typical household $28,000. Congratulations. Hope everyone's happy.
Wild. Make sure I turn this volume down, because the next video, I don't want it to blow your eardrums out. So Trump comes out and he says Kamala's going to announce her economic plan this week. Maybe. She's wanting for more to announce so she can copy it. She's wanting them, meaning Trump, to announce more so she can copy it. Here he is. Hopefully this doesn't blow your ears.
This won't end the economic crisis. She will only make it worse. And why hasn't she done it? She talks about it. She's doing a plan. She's going to announce it this week, maybe. She's waiting for me to announce it so she can copy it.
There's probably some truth to that. I mean, everything she's done, she's flipped on, because they've done some terrible things here. And for some reason, she just comes out reading from a teleprompter like Joe, because she can't think from the top of her head, think on her feet. And she's saying all these things as if she's not in office right now. And all these knuckleheads in the back are like, hell yeah, this is great. Why is she not fixing it now?
We believe in a future where we lower the cost of living for America's families so that they have a chance not just to get by, but to get ahead. Because while our economy is doing well by many measures, prices for everyday things like groceries are still too high. You know it and I know it. You know, when I was Attorney General, I went after price-fixing schemes. And when I am president, it will be a day one priority to fight to bring down prices. I will take...
If you're just wondering, I'm just looking for why she's not solving it now. I looked everywhere, you guys. I actually looked under my mug, inside my mug. Great coffee in here, by the way. If you're not drinking coffee, get some water in you. Get hydrated, folks, because you know what? Water even might go up in price. Hell, at some point with her being the freaking president, God forbid, you might be paying for air for all I know. So she's going to sit there, you know, prices are up while real average weekly wages are down 3.9%. That's what's going on. But she's going to tell you she's going to fix it, you guys. And these knuckleheads behind her are like, she's going to do it. Oh, you know, these are the people that get scammed in the back when you got some knucklehead that's like, hey, you know what? You're going to get $1 million tomorrow if you just give me your credit card information. Yes. Oh, God, man, it really boggles the mind. So then, you know, you got J.D. Vance coming out, and I love this. This guy's doing a ton of interviews. He's doing the job. He's actually getting out there to speak to the American people, and he's actually going off teleprompter. And here's what he says about Kamala Harris, and it's just an awesome talking point here.
Now, I was listening to Kamala Harris give a rally recently because she doesn't talk to the media. She just talks behind a teleprompter. We're going to take some questions from the media after this, as a matter of fact. But she said she's going to tackle the affordability crisis affecting American families on day one.
We just heard her say that, did we not? Well done, JD. Let's see what you have to say, good sir.
Think about that. Kamala, day one was January of 2021.
Boom, baby! Exactly right. Exactly correct. And Democrats can't get it through their head. It was 4 years ago. Yeah. On day one, I'm going to sit there and do this.
Day one was 4 years ago, Kamala Harris, and because of your policies, too many children can't afford a nice meal. Too many children have been killed by fentanyl. Too many grandparents are raising kids they didn't plan for, and too many families can't afford a special meal on a Friday night.
Well, I mean, hell, if you looked at that black lady from Philadelphia that we showed yesterday, she couldn't even afford a bell pepper. And I know that sounds satirical, but we all watched it together. She says, they're killing us. They're killing us. We saw the interview. We watched it together. That is not me making up a single thing. What's going on, Rescue First? Good to see you, and good morning, my fellow patriot. So J.D. Vance calling out, great point. Exactly what we say here. Like, hey, you know what? Like, it's 4 years. First day was 4 years ago. Why are you not solving it now? She has no plan. They have no plan whatsoever. If they had a plan, and if the plan was good, they'd be out all over the media talking about that plan. They don't have one. So you have here Jean-Pierre talking about sky-high prices. Here we go.
When did you guys learn that Vice President Harris wants to distance herself from Bidenomics?
Why do you think that?
Axios.
Now, I just want to pause here. I'm going to go back a little bit because it's kind of a little bit hard to hear. Peter calls out Axios. Now, just real quick, you guys. I want to make sure that we show it. That we have that article right here, okay? So we talked about Axios. This is what Peter Ducey's talking about. Remember how I prefaced, there's going to be a clip where Jean-Pierre goes, where are you getting that from? Well, it just seems like you're pulling it out of thin air, Peter. Well, he isn't.
Why do you think that?
Axios is now reporting that she is hoping to distance herself from President Biden's unpopularity on the economy. Can you blame her?
Do you know this is the Biden-Harris administration? Are you aware that this is the Biden-Harris administration? And she is indeed the vice president.
But if the president's policies on the economy were working, or if they were popular, wouldn't he still be the candidate?
You literally just had the chair of the CEA here who laid out a pretty pretty robust, point by point, about the economy and what has happened under the Biden-Harris administration. And I thought it was pretty convincing.
When did you guys learn?
I thought it was pretty convincing. Lady, I'm not going to take anything from you that you think is convincing. You read out of a binder just to figure out your boss's name, and then you still get it wrong. You get paid $180,000. You don't know what the hell's going on. And that doesn't come from me. That comes from her own people. She doesn't prepare for these press briefings. She doesn't talk to the president. The president doesn't even want to talk to her, which has created grief and problems in the past between her and John Kirby and others. I'm not going to take anything from her. She's an idiot. Like, she's an idiot. Don't make me go down that road. I don't want to start another rant. We're doing well today. We're doing really well today. We're keeping it tame. So she's speaking about this economic advisor that came out. His name's Jared Bernstein. He's an advisor there for he's not just the advisor. He's the top economic advisor for the Biden-Harris administration. And he's talking about lower gas prices again, you guys. I mean, this is the media being complicit in this, by the way, because they're allowing this to happen. They'll only fact check us. They'll say we have cheap fakes, deep fakes, but they don't want to fact check the Democrats. So I just want to bring you the facts here that the nationwide average for a gallon of regular gas remains up 50% since Harris took office. Just want to call that out because he's about to lie to you. 50% increase.
Lower gas prices seem to me important in that regard. They're down something like 35 cents relative to a year ago. That also helps on the consumer side. Lower gas prices seem to me important in that regard.
You know why they do this? Because it manipulates people. That they think gas prices are down. They're doing this with inflation. Oh, inflation's a little bit, I think it's like 3% or lower. We tend to see inflation 1% to 2%, right? Year over year. The problem is, since they've been in office, things have inflated 20%. So they're going, well, things are down. No, they're not. They're not down. Look, things are going to increase usually every year, 1% to 2%. I get that. Not 20%. No, sir. You're looking at anywhere from 4% to 8% increase in goods every 4 years, give or take, based on inflation. Inflation's going to happen. It could be a good thing, and sometimes it could be a bad thing. What you're seeing here is a full manipulation, and the media is complicit in it, and they're allowing it to happen. And you know who's not going to allow it to happen is J.D. Vance, because he torches a New York Times reporter here during his taking of questions. Buckle up, folks.
New York Times, I wanted to ask you about the latest economic news from this morning, with inflation now being under 3%, the lowest rate since mid-2021. What is your sort of reaction to that
news? Well, I think the crowd reaction says it all. Look, when they say that inflation is down, they mean from a baseline where groceries are already 30% more expensive than they were when Donald Trump was president. And they're not saying it's coming down, they're just saying it's not going up as fast as it was 3 years ago. That is not a reputation or a record to brag on, that's a record to be ashamed of. Why did it take them so long to get inflation to where it is, and why are prices so high? It's because Kamala Harris failed to do her job. So if they want to go around, and this is, you know, it's funny. Kamala Harris, on the one hand, will say, on day one, we're going to tackle the affordability crisis. And like I said earlier, Kamala Harris has been the vice president for 3.5 years. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, she's in effect been the acting president, because we all know Joe Biden isn't home. So she's been the one controlling government policy for 3.5 years. She says she wants to tackle the affordability crisis on day one. And then on the other hand, she'll say, well, we've already got inflation under control. Well, which is it, Kamala? Which is it? The simple truth is America's credit card debt is getting higher. Americans are finding the basic necessities in middle-class life less affordable. Americans are becoming, especially young people, are becoming paupers in their own country. If we don't do better, our young generation, they're not going to own anything. They're not going to have anything. They're going to be renters in the country that their parents and grandparents built. Inflation is a disaster. Kamala Harris does not have a leg to stand on.
This guy is smooth. I'm saying this should be, I was full out, right? I was disappointed when Trump announced him as vice president. Let me tell you, I had an open mind this time around because I explained how I felt with Ted Cruz back in 2016. I prejudged him. So this time around, I made sure I had an open mind. I'm liking him. And damn, he's good. He's good. That's no teleprompter there, folks. There's no binder for this man. This is the binder. Okay, this is working. Now, what's remarkable here is he says all these things and Democrats will still vote for it. They'll still vote for it. Here's the one thing Trump needs to hound that can't change, that Kamala Harris can't be a reed in the wind on. Why did she sit there and cover up Joe Biden's cognitive decline? That needs to be a part of the debate stage. Even if the media, the outlets don't bring it up because it's with ABC News, George Stephanopoulos, if he doesn't ask that question, it needs to be asked to her, why did she cover up Joe Biden's cognitive decline? We all see it. That one needs to be brought up. So you also have Byron coming out and just wiping the floor with CNN here in the same way J.D. Vance just wiped the floor with the New York Times reporter. Here we go.
Harris's administration with Joe Biden crippled families across our entire country. There was a video of a black woman being interviewed, I think by MSNBC, talking about how prices have gone up massively. A bell pepper that was $2 is now $5, and she was able to get through it. But what about a single mom with 2 kids, 3 kids doing everything to make ends meet? Well, the reason why those prices have been massively expensive is because Kamala Harris was the tie-breaking vote on Joe Biden's American Rescue Plan in 2021. She was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act. All that did was create massive government spending, which created massive inflation on the backs of the American people. Overall, prices are up well over 20%, especially when you start getting into food and other areas like that. So Kamala Harris's record has been one of leaving working families behind. When Donald Trump was president, we didn't have a massive inflation. Our economy was growing massively at the same time. Working families were getting ahead. Middle-income families getting ahead. Everybody was thriving. I think so. The key issue is what was just brought up about which candidate is the candidate of political and economic change. It's without question that candidate's Donald J. Trump, because Kamala Harris was sitting there shotgun with Joe Biden, creating one of the worst economic situations for working families in the last 40 years in the United States of America.
And Democrats will still vote for it. I can't wrap my head around it, man. Like I've always said, I get if Democrats don't like Donald Trump. I fully understand that. And that they're not going to vote for him. But the fact that you will go out of your way to put Harris in office, that you will actually punch that ticket for her name on it, is insane, rather than just leaving it blank. So CBS comes out and actually talks about Trump's outline for his economic vision, where no tax on seniors, Social Security, no tax on tips, lowering energy costs. The new thing that he came out with was lowering energy costs by half. Now, that's a big feat to happen. You got to really drill for that to happen and do some upgrades. And what I mean by that is you need to sit there and install these nuclear power plants again. Clean energy.
He just wrapped up that speech, as you mentioned, and what was notable about it is he is talking about the economy in a nostalgic way, trying to get voters to remember how the economy was, how they felt the economy was under his presidency. So he named a few items today, as you can see on the signs behind me, perhaps. No federal tax on Social Security, no federal tax on tips for service workers. He also talked about slashing energy costs, but he just wrapped up that speech, as you mentioned.
And we'll kind of hear more about him slashing those energy costs by half. I am curious if he's having this thinking on energy and how to do it after not just speaking with Elon Musk during that interview that broke the internet earlier this week, but also his prior conversations about energy. And I think he has a pathway having Elon Musk in his back pocket to really help him navigate that kind of industry. Because remember, Donald Trump knows about building business. He knows about hiring. He knows about how to engage with clients, but he's a builder. He's a builder. And so him trying to reach across the aisle in terms of energy, because remember, Elon's a Democrat, he's not a Republican, is good for him to have somebody like that. Now, there is news, it's not part of the show, that RFK is trying to reach out to the Harris campaign to be a part of her cabinet. I do feel like RFK kind of stabbed Donald Trump in the back a little bit there, and he probably had more of an opportunity to be in Trump's cabinet or at least working with the Trump campaign, probably a little bit more aligned with Republican and conservative values, since RFK is more of a moderate Democrat, slightly to the left of moderate, but not anywhere near where Kamala Harris campaign should be. So that would have been a great person to have with Donald Trump, those types of people working with him. So the other news that we have today is there is a White House press briefing that we've already covered, but you're going to hear again that Kamala Harris is doing fine. Some prices are up, but they definitely need to come down. Now, you heard Donald Trump's vision for the economy. What is Kamala Harris's, other than the fact you're going to sit here and BS the American people the entire time?
Hear you, but we've been hearing that message in some form over the past 3 years, and the fact is the prices are not coming down; they're going up. Debt is also rising; that's going up. So why should Americans believe the president and vice president?
Well, there's some prices that are definitely coming down.
Well, you could probably find something out there in the ether that came down. No, duh. It's the reversal, right? When prices are down, you can find a product that went up in price, seasonal product. Maybe there's something happening in a foreign country, kind of like Russia when they invaded Ukraine, because Russia was a big supplier, Ukraine was a big supplier of a soil, like fertilizer. So you're going to have the prices go up. Or maybe there's something that happened that caused wood to increase. Like, there's always going to be ups and downs. But this whole idea of like, well, you could find something that's down.
So there are airfares. Airfares are, hold on. Airfares, hold on. Yes, airfares are lower now than when President Biden took office. So airfares are lower now than they were pre-pandemic. And airfares have been falling for about 15 months in a row, year over year. And of course, prescription drugs. If you look at prescription drugs, that's an area where we've taken firm action to lower prices.
Wow, two things.
I would also say the following.
And by the way, it's not all prescription drugs. It's like inhalers, right? They brought, insulin down to $35, which is a good thing. So let me get this straight. You're going to talk the entire economy based on three things. Airfare, which has only been down for 15 months. People can't even afford to go on a plane right now. And then you're going to talk about prescription drugs, inhalers, and that's me being generous, and insulin. I want you guys to pump the brakes for a second. Make sure you sit there and send Joe Biden and Kamala Harris an email saying thank you while your grocery prices are up, your electric bills through the roof, your water bills probably increasing, your property taxes have gone through the roof. You can't afford gas or even fill up your tank anymore. I just got a message yesterday because we were covering the show about that black woman from Philadelphia that couldn't afford a bell pepper. And I said, hey, you know what? We don't know her personal finances on her behavioral aspect of how she spends. You know, somebody wrote, hey, I'm still working 3 jobs. I can't afford to move. I totally get that. That wasn't the purpose of why I was bringing that up. I just bring about that people's personal finances most often lead them into a spending behavior that drives into more debt. But I understand there's externalities. Don't feel like I'm attacking you guys. That's not what I was trying to do yesterday. I understand it. What I'm saying here is people can't afford things, and he's going to bring up the idea of like, oh, well, we lowered your inhaler a little bit. Does that help people? Absolutely. But there's a lot more to the economy and what people's bills are going up in, and you're going to bring up 3 things and make it seem like by overshadowing it as prescription drugs doesn't do anything for anybody, really. Now, he goes on a step further. I mean, he keeps talking about this because everybody's talking about the inflation because the new numbers came out. Well, here he is again, lying through his teeth.
Does the White House at this point think that the inflation problem is solved?
The momentum is certainly in the right direction. Inflation is reliably coming down. We have a record of disinflation, meaning slower inflation, that is now 60% or a little bit more than that off of its peak. And so this is a consistent trend that's been moving in the right direction.
Hey, we got momentum. Oh, so I guess we moved from that word transition phase now. I guess we're out of a transition phase and we got some momentum happening. So I just want to kind of show the two differences because, again, the media is all complacent in this. The media is allowing it to happen. Hey, can you explain this? No follow-up there, no kind of pushback like they did on Donald Trump, no interruptions whatsoever. Well, here's J.D. Vance, really laying down the law on the fact that under Kamala Harris, gas prices are up 50%. Housing prices have doubled. Grocery prices are up 20%. A record number of Americans have multiple jobs. And by the way, to the young lady, young or older, I don't know, that sent that comment yesterday, love you to death. By the way, I work multiple jobs as well, so I'm right there with you. Okay, so I get it. Here we go.
Harris gas prices are up 50%. And I know we're a trucking company. You think truckers benefit when gas prices go up 50%? No. And neither do the people who depend on truckers, which is every single one of us. Housing costs have doubled. Grocery prices are up 21%. A record number of Americans are working multiple jobs. And I happen to believe in a simple principle that if you work hard and play by the rules, you ought to be able to afford a good life in the country your parents and grandparents built. Isn't that simple? Now, the housing market is the least affordable it's ever been. Mortgage rates have doubled, and that's thanks to Kamala Harris' spending policies. The average new car costs nearly $50,000 a year. And this November, my friends, we're going to send a message that Michigan chooses prosperity over poverty, and that we will never accept 4 more years of Kamala Harris. She's out of there.
Y'all remember? It's not a laughing thing. It's just a remarkable thing that they said. Remember when the Biden-Harris campaign, people can't afford groceries, gas, all those things that J.D. Vance just displayed? And they go, well, if you can't afford to fill up your gas-powered car, go buy an electric vehicle. Y'all remember that? Janet, was it Janet Yellen? No, it wasn't Janet Yellen. She's the Department of Treasury. It was the Department of Energy lady. Comes out and says, yeah, just go buy an electric vehicle. Lady, they can't afford gas. How the hell are they going to afford a $35,000 plus vehicle? So they're already in debt. They're taking out savings. Average American is taking out thousands of dollars in savings to pay the bills. There's more credit than ever in this country per American. And you're going to tell them to go take out a loan on another vehicle. That's the worst decision you could possibly make in terms of finances of buying a brand new vehicle, especially an electric vehicle right now, because they can't sit there and afford gas. You know how idiotic that is? But it was also echoed by everybody in the Biden campaign. I mean, Democrats will sit there and go, let me go buy a vehicle. I can't pay my bills anymore. Yeah, because you just bought a car, a brand new car that you should never do. So at least Americans have their head on straight of who should be leading the country correctly. And it turns out they like Donald Trump to lead us in terms of border security, at least. Trust do a better job. Who do you trust to do a better job in terms of border security? So it's Harris and Trump. Clearly Trump wins. It's plus or minus 3-point margin of error. But that's a big lead by Trump. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I just brought it up because I like to bring up polls every now and then in terms of how people feel like somebody's going to lead. If that were the case, I mean, Trump wins on actually a lot of these individualized polls, but Kamala Harris is actually beating Trump in a lot of polls as well right now. It's razor thin. It's like 50-50 right now, but we're nowhere near winning this thing, folks. Now, you just saw that people expect Trump to handle the border a lot better than Kamala Harris. Well, what's weird here is the Biden-Harris deportation program has sent away just 10% of illegal aliens registered. Oh, that's weird. I was told they're doing mass movements here of people. That's what's coming out from jean-pierre. We have the media reporting that Joe Biden has deported more people than Barack Obama and Donald Trump. There might be some truth to that because there's more people here illegally. So just with that increase, you would obviously have more people. It's kind of like when they go, well, we've apprehended more people at the border than Donald Trump ever did. Yeah, because you have more people coming in, you knuckleheads. Of course. Of course. So a Biden administration program meant to deport families who immigrated illegally to the United States have removed just over 10%. So the family expedited removal program has resulted in the deportation of only 2,600 aliens from around 24,000 that were enrolled. Oh, it's a drop in the bucket. Folks, write this number here. Just the enrolled people. I want to point out that Texas was seeing this in 48 hours. This was Texas's numbers in 48 hours. You saw these numbers for like Chicago for like a year. And what I mean by that is this is every 48 hours for Texas way back when, like 2 years ago. Yeah, Chicago's infrastructure crumbled with the totality of what Texas sees in 48 hours in a span of a year. So Chicago gets 24,000 people in a span of a year. Infrastructure crumples. They don't know what to do. They're asking for bailouts like New York City Mayor Eric Adams, where their infrastructure crumbled as well, where they're begging New York citizens to sit there and house these migrants, where Texas was taking them in 48 hours. That's the difference between a Republican running a state or locality compared to a Democrat. Republicans know how to run things usually a lot better than Democrats. And you also have this one here. I want to bring this up because it connects to that New York City thing. Look at this, folks. See if I get it there for you. New York City migrant crisis. Oh, if you're on audio, cost will crack eye-popping. It takes my breath away. I get like dizzy looking at this number. Not dizzy and deaf in the chat, but dizzy like literally. $5 billion on shelter, security, and food. Amount could double by 2025. I know. Look at this. The eye-popping figures listed in the city's online asylum-seeking funding tracker shows the city's overall spent roughly $5 billion combined through fiscal year 2023 to 2024. Based on the rate of spending, the city's likely to exceed more than $112 million since the start of the fiscal year, and soon will crack $5 billion. Look at this number. They're predicted and projected to double, hitting $10 billion over the next 3-year period. Yo. Remember, I always bring this up. Donald Trump was asking for like $3 billion to create a border wall. And Nancy through her dentures and Chuck Schumer with his freaking hairline receding going, we don't have the money. Sorry, Donald, we don't have the money. Remember, states can't print money. Somehow the taxpayers in New York City have to pay for this. And then Democrats go, why is our state falling apart? Why is our education system not getting funded? Why is my energy prices so expensive? It's a remarkable thing. There's no connection. The wires are crisscrossed. You see this? Why are they raping our children? Why are my kids being murdered? We all see it. Like, we're all looking around in a different reality than they are. They're living in some fictitious world. They're not killing us. They're not raping. No, some of them are. No, really. Oh, here's another one. We just covered like 5 videos yesterday. Well, here's another one, you guys. An illegal alien charged with sexual assault murder of a child was released in the U.S. by the Biden-Harris campaign. We covered it. Look, we talked about it. Well, here's another one. Here's another one. An illegal alien accused of sexually assaulting and murdering an 11-year-old girl and was freed in the interior of the United States by Biden and Harris. Just months before allegedly committing the heinous crime that was displayed. Look, this dude illegally entered the United States January of last year after being smuggled to the border from his home country of Guatemala. No, he's just coming here for a better life, you guys. This is one of the countries that Kamala Harris knew about. They said they're just coming because of climate change. No, there's a famine, there's a drought there. You know, they have to come here for work and water, and so they can send it all back to their country. But yeah, so they go ahead and murder a child. No, that's good. That's great. They're doing a great job around this country, Democrats. Thank you so much for voting in Joe Biden and Harris. You're doing a great service to all the women and children that are being raped and killed right now. No, it's a nice job. You know, your cities are doing fine. Yeah, Santa Monica isn't crumbling. You know, there's a thing called, as I was showing my wife this yesterday, 3rd Street Promenade in Santa Monica, 40% vacancy. That place used to be the main hub of Santa Monica, like the bougie, like Rodeo Drive and Hollywood Boulevard, or down there in Hollywood, like Beverly Hills bougie, where people are driving Lamborghinis. Yeah, 3rd Street Promenade was kind of like the hub of Santa Monica, completely hollowed out. 40% vacancies. Rent alone is $30,000. Nobody can afford it. Democrats are crippling cities. Crippling freaking cities. And so what Joe Biden wants you to do, even though we see it with our own eyes and hear it with our own ears, well, he wants the media to start lying to all of you. And that's why, again, the media is allowing all this to happen. They're not covering this stuff in the way they should be. They're not exposing the Democrat Party. They're not exposing the Biden-Harris campaign. And so what Joe wants them to do is to report on the economy the way that he wants. He wants to tell them that they're beating inflation. He wants them to write that consumer prices have dropped 3% since July. So he wants them to sit there and manipulate all you. And you think they'll do his bidding? Do you think they'll sit there and be like, yes, sir, we will do that? Of course they will. Of course they freaking will. Here he is.
the U.S. beat inflation, Mr. President?
Yes. I told you we're going to have a soft landing. We're going to have a soft landing. My policies are working. Start writing that way, okay?
And Mr. President,
anyway, thank you.
Yeah, they'll do it too. They'll listen to him. And he also did some weird stuff yesterday during that same press conference where he made like this joke and it just didn't land. It was really weird. Like really, it's okay when Trump does it because we expect him to do it. A part of it's like, yes, it's truth, but it's also comedic. Here he is. After he asked them to all do his bidding, right? To eat the gunk between his toes and to pry off the poly from his dentures. This is what he says.
Is that the real press or the fake press back there? That was a joke. It was a joke.
Is that the real press or the fake press back there? Now, it works when Donald Trump does it because they don't sit there and do Donald Trump's bidding. They sit there and manipulate their articles and their media reporting in front of the American people on behalf of Joe Biden, the Harris campaign. And what's weird is, towards the end, he just like goes crazy, and then so Biden gets angry. I'm trying to figure out how I can even word this. He gets angry, even though his handlers desperately try to kick out the media in the room. It's try to figure it out yourselves. It's really weird as hell.
Yes. Shh, I'm not going to answer your question. I'm talking to them first, okay? The audience first, okay?
So I want to pause it here because notice this comment. Like I said, it's a really weird clip. He's talking to some people in the front, and he goes, I want to answer their questions first, and then he's implying that he's going to get to the reporters in the back. But watch what happens next with what his advisors and his aides do.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, President. Thank you, President. Thank you, President.
They kick him out.
Mr. President, has the U.S. beat inflation, Mr. President?
Yes.
So and then we saw that tail end of the clip before, but they start kicking him out. Weird as hell. Like super, super weird. So that one was there. And I want to hit you guys with this before we end. These are quick updates here. There's a Hunter Biden story where Hunter is seeking State Department help on lucrative energy project. And you got a CNN reporter saying it feels a little strange. So there's a panel on CNN that reacted on Wednesday to the news that Hunter Biden reportedly sought help from the U.S. government for a possibly financially benefiting energy project in Italy while his father was vice president, and said it felt very strange. Weird how this is all coming out. And it's weird. Wait, hold on. Why would it be an energy project? Oh, sorry. Because Hunter Biden was on the board of a lot of these energy firms, but more specifically Burisma Holdings, of which Shokin was looking into in Ukraine. And it's funny that all of a sudden Joe Biden drops out of the race, and now everybody's curious on Hunter Biden. Now all this information's coming out just remarkably, just after 4 years, all of a sudden coming out. By the way, this stuff has been going on since 2009, at best 2014. So it's not like it's just coming out. It's been going on a decade. And here's Karine Jean-Pierre being asked about these shady business dealings. And let's see what she actually answers the question.
Biden document seeking State Department help came out after the president was no longer a candidate. Is the president bothered by that at all?
Look, what I can say is what I've said before.
Not in the binder.
He was not in business with his son.
That's a lie.
He's certainly not aware of this, and this is.
I think we all agree with that. Joe Biden ain't aware of Jack Bleep. Oh, he ain't aware for sure. He's not even aware that he's president.
Something that Hunter Biden has to speak to. He's a private citizen. It is something for him to focus on, and I'm just going to have to leave it.
Yeah, it's just not in the binder. Sorry, can't answer your question. It's not there. But he never had business dealings. He didn't do any business with his son. We know that's. Not only do we know the emails, we have Devin Archer's business partner and other business partners coming out that worked with the Bidens, saying, yeah, they worked with us all the time. We've covered it. We've done a show dedicated, an hour-long episode to exposing the whole Biden family business, shady business dealings. So here's another one from yesterday's White House press briefing.
The New York Times is reporting that Hunter Biden sought help from a U.S. ambassador on behalf of Burisma while he was on the company's board and while Biden was vice president. So what's Biden's reaction to this, and is he concerned about what this looks like to the American public?
So I'll just report what I've said before, is that the president has never done business with his son.
That's a lie.
And he was not aware of this. And for anything further, I would have to refer you to Hunter Biden's personal representatives. I can't speak beyond that. But again, I've said this before, the president was not in business with his son, and this is the first time, he was not aware of this. And for anything further, you would have to reach out to Biden.
She don't have a freaking clue. She doesn't have a clue whatsoever. And the question is, remember, Joe Biden said that he was not going to pardon Hunter, but is Kamala Harris going to pardon him?
Said from the podium that President Biden would not pardon his son. If Vice President Harris is elected, would he tell her also to not pardon?
I mean, that's a hypothetical that look, the president, I can speak for the president, and he said he would not pardon his son. And I'm just going to leave it there.
Well, she's going to leave it there, folks. I think Kamala Harris probably will pardon him if something comes about of this, folks. Really, thank you so much for joining us in today's episode. We're here 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every single morning, Monday through Friday, with a sprinkling of politics on the weekend. Jason, thank you so much for the $5, brother. I see you there. Trump Train 2024. Let's get out and vote, folks. Be aware of the manipulation and the strategy that not only the media is doing, but also so is Kamala Harris in terms of the strategy she's utilizing to stay in the basement, not take interviews, and she's trying to close the gap between not only the DNC, but taking an interview that closes the gap between that interview as well as the debate between her and Donald Trump, so that she could sit there and come out and manipulate everybody, including Donald Trump himself, folks. Thank you so much for always joining us. Hit that join tab over at Rumble if you would like. Check out baldbrad.com for any sort of merchandise or whatever. And follow us over at Rumble as well as on YouTube. And with that being said, folks, have a blessed day and take care, Patriots. God bless.